John Ross, welcome to the Invest podcast. My guest I have on today is somebody that I've known for, I might say, maybe about 27 years, 28 years. God, we're getting old. And
first grade.
And she's doing some really great things, some big things. And I felt that it was only right with me having the Invest podcast that I showcase some people that I also know personally that are really making a difference, have their own businesses and are making an impact in people's lives. So I want to welcome Godi clothing brand owner Tanisha Mitchell to the Invest podcast. What's going on, T?
Oh, a little bit of everything.
Hey, so first, let's kick back. Like, how's motherhood, kids? How's the little one? All that. Man, it's been a while since I had little kids running around. I see the little guy. How is the little prince?
You know what? He is amazing me every day. His personality is so wild. He's my wild child. My other son that's 9, he's more calm and centered. But Israel, so Sorrell's 9, Israel is 10 months, and he's amazing. I don't know how else to put it in words.
Busy little guy. Yeah, it's you could have 2 kids, and a lot of times if you have 2 kids, each one has like a different like personality. Like with mine, I got my daughter, and she's like super just. And then I got my son, my oldest, and he's like super duper just chill, like kick back, really quiet, just like total polar opposites.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so let's let's talk a little bit about the Godi clothing brand. So you have a mantra. It says it is a brand that is built to inspire, built to empower, first through knowledge of self-love and the power of human kindness. That's amazing. I love that. When did you come up with that mantra for your brand? It's really amazing. How did you come up with that?
So really cool story. I work with junior high kids, and they used to always come at me with where's your Gucci? Where's your Louis Vuitton? Why
These kids in the brands. So my son's the same way.
Yeah. And so I'm always like, I am a mom. If I'm coming to work, I'm not coming to work in all these different brands, or I'm not spending all my money on these brands that don't have any meaning. Yeah, I like nice things. Who doesn't?
Right.
But what I was trying to explain to them is that, you're paying all this money for something, you're investing all your money into something that eventually is not going to be worth anything. And it doesn't have a message behind it. Like, so I had to really come at them like, what makes you want to go spend all this money on this brand? You don't know these people, you don't know who created the brand, you don't know who's behind it.
Right.
And they always had no answer for me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to come up with a brand that has a message behind it, because what our youth is missing is inspiration, is something that's going to lift them up out of darkness when they're going through something. And so I was just trying to fill a void. I was in the trenches and I was seeing it. These kids they didn't know what affirmations were. They just didn't have any power. And so every time they went through a struggle, they just felt defeated. So I was like, I'm going to create something where you put it on and you know what you're putting on, you know what you're representing. And since then, my kids to this day still hit me up with Godi stuff on. They're like, Miss T, I was having a hard day and I put on Godi and I remember who I was. I had to come back to loving myself or whatnot. So, and that's where I get all my power from. When I hear those, when I get those messages and I hear those stories, it's like, this is why I do this, So That's always been the goal, is to inspire. Money is cool, but you waking up in the morning and you're still not feeling your worth.
Right.
You still don't know who you are. What good is that money? So I guess my thing that I always tell my junior high kids is, know who you are and have some value to yourself. That is the main objective. If you get out here and you're doing something, do something that's going to inspire you. Do something that you're going to love.
No doubt.
And that is just going to make life a little bit better, a lot better, actually.
Your concept, your whole reason behind coming up with it is truly great. Because these kids always see all these brands. Even my son, he's showing me a pair of jeans. I'm like, man, I'm not buying $500 pair of pants. Like, are you? like my thing is, like, you're gonna go out, you're gonna invest in something that's something like that, something that can make you more money, can make you money. Like a $500 pair of pants, like after you buy them, that's it. You can't sell them for $500. So it's like, okay. So when you came out with the name, I know you said you wanted to straight something great. You wanted to launch something that really just had meaning. Did you play around with a couple of names first, or was this Godi? Was that it from the jump?
Godi is a thing that stuck in my head overnight. I had a couple other things written down, but so what Godi is it's an acronym. Mm-hmm. So what it stands for is God is for God over divine influences. So the main thing about who we are is we're created by the Almighty. We all got a little bit of God in it. Yeah. So I just wanted that to be the reminder, the days when you're feeling like you're not enough, like, no, you're created in his image. There is a divine thing about you that makes you different. There's only one of you. And so when I came up with that concept, it was the thing that felt the most powerful and most natural to me. And so, of course, you have to be the influence, right? You have to lead by example. So that's another thing I always tell my kids. You can't be a follower out here. You got to make sure you're out here and you're doing things that make sense.
Gotta lead.
Junior high is that weird. You remember junior high? It's that weird time in your life where you don't really know who you are. You want to be accepted,
right?
So you might not do the smartest things, right? So
I'm going. I'm going through it right now. I got an 8th grader. He's going to 9th, and he's trying to find that identity. I have to get on him really toughly about the way he's dressing, the way he presents himself. But I tell him, people judge you by the way that you carry yourself. We had an issue with the sagging pants, and I'm like, hey, you're not gonna, he's like, Dad, but people are gonna make fun of me if I pull my pants up like you and all this stuff like that. I said, what? Like, honestly, like, why do they sag? I asked him why. I said, the restaurants, the grocery stores, nobody wants you in there as sad, but why do they do it? Do you know? He couldn't answer me. We gotta
ask those tough questions, and I'm glad you're doing that, because as a dad, he's looking to you, but at the same time, one of his other biggest influences are his friends.
Yeah,
so it's a scary world, right? It's really scary, especially with kids of color. And definitely. So Godi is youth driven. I also have 7th letter that stands for the G, God that we have that we all have inside of us. That's a children's brand that I'm still developing. We have Godi Queen, Godi Girl. So what I just want to do is represent the youth. We forget about our youth too many times. We forget that our youth is our future, and if they're not doing good, we're not going to be doing good eventually. You know what I'm saying? So we need more of us out there guiding them and showing them the way. And I took a couple of them under my wing to this day. I still got 4 girls that I mentor, and it feels good that I'm big sis, or I'm mom to them. Yeah. Someone I can call and say, Mom, this is not a good situation. Can I get an Uber? Yes, you can. Yes, you sure can. Any time of night, I'm here for you. I had that. I had a mentor. Yeah. I had my big sis that to this day, I always have to bring her up because without her, there would be no me. Like,
Helped you so
my life
much.
would be so different. Yeah, like, yeah. If I didn't have that guiding light, like, no, that's it. It's not a good idea, or I'm in trouble. Have somebody come help me. So I just felt like, in our community, that's what we're missing. We're missing mentors.
We
for
are.
4 years, I looked for a Black male to come and mentor I had a girls group, and I wanted a male, particularly African American male, to come lead the boys group. Couldn't find one.
Yeah, that is really, really big. So not only you got your brand, and you invest in these children, and they need that, because a lot of time these kids, the things that they see and some of the things that they actually aspire to be, they look up all these rappers and all this like crazy, I told my son, like, and definitely he's definitely getting better. He definitely is improving, and I'm definitely letting him know, like, hey, some of these things you're doing right now, and if you do the wrong things, they can definitely have some consequences for you later. I said, be your own man, be your own, like a leader, make decisions that you want to make, not autopilot decisions. Just because all 95% of your friends are doing something, sit back and really think for a minute. Is this something that you really should be doing? And yeah, for sure, like a lot of these kids, they want to fit in. Yep. And and you definitely got to make sure you're being your own person. So that's one thing I try to instill in my kids is be your own person. Definitely be a leader.
Right. Definitely. And you know what? You're leading by example. So you're doing the right thing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because they're gonna mimic what they see us doing, right? So
for
if
sure.
you have this concept of invest in yourself, that's gonna be stuck in your kids' heads. And eventually, they might not get it when they're young, but it's gonna click. My son asks me and my husband all the time, why do you guys have businesses if you have full-time jobs? So we're always trying to explain to him, like, we're about having multiple streams of revenue,
right.
Something don't work out, all your eggs aren't in one basket. And so we're just trying to make sure that, like I said, we're leading by example, and eventually when he gets older, he'll understand, and then he'll teach it to his kids, because that's what we're doing, right? We're breaking these generational curses, right?
Right.
And we're starting to make sure our kids come from wealth. So in order to do that, we got to think different. We got to ask questions. We just got to start thinking outside the box and make sure that we're educating ourselves in things that make sense, right? Buying your kids 5 pairs of Jordans at $1,000.
Well, yeah.
Is that a really good investment? I'm not judging anybody.
Right.
Stuff
yeah.
On stupid stuff. But it's time. Our community needs a change, and you have to be that change. Yeah.
Let's do it. I love what you're doing. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's great that you had touched on that, and you touched on the thinking outside the box, because a lot of people, it would really benefit them, especially as some things are going to be changing with automation coming in. It's coming here, and people are going to have to start thinking of other things and thinking outside the box. And people talk to me all the time, and they say, John, how do you work 40 plus hours a week at your job? You're a father, a husband, go to the gym, got a meal prep business, a podcast. Why do I say I want to have multiple streams of income, and I want to help and inspire people. And, I want to build something for my family, and, I want to build a legacy. And doing that, I'm going to have to think, and we're going to have to work a little bit harder to get to those places, than the average person. It does take some work. It takes grit. I know what that's all about.
Yeah. There was a time where I thought that this could not exist.
Right.
Shout out to my husband, Landis Mitchell. He helped me get Godi off the ground, and he made it make sense to me. And he has been an amazing support system. So Godi listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Godi started with $500 from my tax return. And I think my tax return.
Tell me this: how many people, have gotten like more than that with like stimulus checks and stuff like that? And it doesn't take a lot to start something if you can educate yourself a little bit, on the steps that are needed to do it. Just look at just $500 can get you started. Yeah. That's what that's maybe like 3 pairs of Jordans.
Exactly. Sacrifice, because I think that year our tax return was $1,000. So I was taking a leap, and so I just knew that I wanted more. I was working at the grocery store at the time. I think I was working at Rayleigh, and I was working the check stand. And every morning I would come in, and I write my goals down, and I always told myself, like, I'm here right now, but where do I want to be? Where do I see myself 3 years from now? 4 years from now? I didn't know the whole picture. I didn't even really have a whole business plan figured out. I just knew that I knew that I wanted to retire early.
Right.
I don't want to work my ass off for the rest of my life. I want to work smarter, not harder.
Heck yeah.
And I wanted to build a legacy, something I can leave behind. And so I had to start making things make sense and, stop doing all the shopping. And I had to start educating myself. I learned how to do a lot of things on YouTube every night after work. 10 o'clock at night, I'm on YouTube. How do you build this? How do you make a website? How do you just everything you want to know, right, is on the internet. And us, when we grew up, we didn't have the internet.
We have none of it. I tell people, they say, John, this, that. I'm like, I don't know everything, but I do use the resources that are available to me. If you want to learn about pretty much anything, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether it be stocks, whether it be real estate, the information is out there. You can do it, but the question is, do you have the will to do it? Do you have the will to learn, to gain that knowledge? We are very lucky and blessed to be in a day and age where we have technology where everything we want as far as information is right there at our fingertips. We just have to use it, and you're utilizing that.
Yeah, you have to. I always tell my junior high kids that there's no way in 2021 you should not know how to make money.
Yeah.
If you have the internet, you have a phone, and you have a car.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 jobs right there I can think of that you can go do that takes no startup money, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm a little worried about this generation because
Me too.
They want it like this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, they tell me all the time, I don't have to work, Miss T. I'm going to build a TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think that's not going to be hard work, gaining followers? Mm-hmm. Oh, I can do that. That's not going to take any time. Or I don't have to work, Miss T. I'm going to get a contract to go play football.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know how to read that contract?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. How do you all know your vocabulary? Where there's some big words out there, So it's really fun, and it teaches me a lot about where my son is going in society when I talk to these kids. But at the same time, like I said, it's scary talking to a lot of them because, when I was that age, I was like, I knew 2 things. Job, I need to go get a job, and I need to go get a car.
Yeah, me too.
That's all I knew.
I
don't need a car. My mom got a car.
You had a car before a lot of people. I think it might have been Junior. You was driving. I remember you had a car. Yeah, and he was working.
I got with my own money. I had my first job was at Arby's. Shout out to North Highlands.
Elkhorn.
On Elkhorn, yeah. My friend Tina, she got me hired there.
Tina Perez. Oh yeah, I remember.
Yep. And my first little income check, I went and bought me my own car. I didn't come from I don't have the silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't come from money, but I knew that wasn't always gonna be my circumstance, So you got to start somewhere. It wasn't the best car,
right?
But
it was a car.
It was a car.
Point A, point B.
Yep.
You was driving. You was driving. Some of us are still walking.
It was a Dodge Spirit. I don't even think you
remember. Man. So
when you came up with the concept and you put it together and you took your $500 for your tax return, you invested that. So from when you came up with it, when did you actually get to print the website? How was it a 6-month period? Was it a year? How long did it take you to start trying to put those things in motion? I know you've been doing this for quite some time. Now, what year did you actually start really putting this stuff out, the website? When did that first kind of come together for you?
So I started Godi in 2016, but that's not when I started thinking about Godi.
Right.
You know, I started thinking about Godi probably a year and a half before that. And so in terms of setting goals and writing down, you know, first step, you know, save the money, you know, second step, go get the LLC, third step, draw the design. And so I just had this, I should have brought the little booklet in here, so I was go through it like, damn, this is where I started. But I just created a checklist and I did day by day. Each payday, I would invest a little bit more into my business and where I wanted to go. And so when it was time, when that $500 dropped, right, it was like, okay, it's go time. Let me launch the website. You know, I got the clothes I want here, because Godi started off as a boutique. And so
it started off as a what?
As a boutique, a women's clothing boutique.
Okay.
And so I kind of wasn't sure on how to build my concept, because I knew that it wasn't going to be popular, you know, as soon as, you know, I was out. I didn't have a huge following. I think at that time on Instagram, I had like 98 followers. And so I knew about the build. I knew I had to lay brick by brick. And that was something I was okay with, the slow grind. Yep. And I was okay with struggling and failing, or not failing, but, you know, falling off, restarting, falling off again. You know, a boss can take a loss. So if you're really a boss at heart, it's okay to take a loss and start over as many times you need to. The main thing is you just don't quit, right?
Yeah. So like once you got everything up and running, and like, see, that's what a lot of people don't understand with business is a lot of people will start something if they can even get that far. But if within about, I would say maybe 3 to 4 months, they're not seeing just massive results, they pretty much give it up. So can you talk a little bit about just learning as you go, not taking like failure as fail, taking it as a learning experience, and kind of like staying the course? Because a lot of people, Tanisha, they need to hear that, because everyone thinks it's just overnight. Even myself, you know, launching my business, my brand, and I'm doing pretty decent for someone who's only been out for just a real small amount of time. But people think that you're just going to see just these massive returns within a couple of months, and for the average business, it just doesn't work that way. So can you talk a little bit about the grind, the grit, and just kind of staying the course?
Yeah, you know what? I had those thoughts. Like, you know, I was always telling my husband, like, man, maybe this is not going to work. I don't want this to be a strain on our income. I don't want this to be a strain on our bills, our household. And he was like, you know what? Are you making any money? So he asked me questions that made sense. You know, are you in the green? Are you in the black? How long do you think that you are gonna take for you to make money? You know, you need to go Google how long it takes to see a profit. And so once I started understanding, you know, those things that you should know when you come into business, then I was okay with that. I wasn't big on being this huge success overnight. I didn't want to be popular. I didn't want to be famous. I wanted to provide a message, right? And so that message was going to take, I knew it was going to take a slow process. And so I struggled a lot, especially with being a mom and working and going to school full time. I have my BA and
go girl.
About 7 months. Yeah. So I'll be a social worker out here in one of these high schools or junior highs in Sacramento, which is
that is dope.
So needed. Yeah, we don't have a lot of colored counselors.
No, we don't.
People of color, you don't see them in our schools anymore. And so that's another void I wanted to fill. And so my mind was always racing. Like I always wanted to do like, oh, let's go do this. Let's go do this. And so you just got to stay focused on what you really want to do. Make sure that you are on top of what the game plan is. understand longevity and what your end game is going to be. Don't let anybody talk you down. Not everybody's going to understand your vision. But as long as you are passionate and you really love what you do, there's no way that you're going to fail. You're always going to make sure that you come through because you're going to keep doing it. You're too passionate about it, right?
Right. You have to, and of course you have to believe in you. I say believe in you because no one will believe in you unless you believe in yourself. If you believe and people start saying you believe and you're doing this and eventually things are starting to roll, then they'll believe in you. Sometimes when you first start, there's not very many people that believe in you. So let's also talk about the importance of the support system, because you told me you had your husband. He's super supportive. And like, you know, when you're starting something, even if you got one person, two people in your corner, that little bit of support can really go a long way with kind of like, you know, helping you with this and that, even just the moral support. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely important to have a team. And some people will, I'm one of those people, I always thought that, you know, everybody had this huge team behind them and that's how they got everything done. And I'm like, I don't have a team like that. I don't want to get stuff done, you know? And then my husband had to tell me one day, like, what are you talking about? You got this person, you have this, you got a bomb photographer, shout out to Ricky Banks.
Banks.
You got you got this person, you know, with their own store in the mall. Shout out to Aisha Ransom. You have all these different people that are willing to support you and push your brand, that believe in you. But I like what you said, and you bring a strong point up because that's our slogan. It's in you, and this slogan we built back in 2016. So before people was saying it was cool, you know, it's not on you, it's in you. Like that was our whole thing. Like I wanted to make sure people knew that it ain't about the clothes you have on. It's about what's inside. That's what matters. But people be thinking that they're not enough. You're enough. It's definitely in you. You just got to believe that.
I love that. Love the concept. It's beautiful. So also, I know you had said shout out the mall. So I know you end up getting some gear in the pop-up shop in Arden Fair Mall in our city. So how did that actually come about? How did you end up working that out? You said you actually knew the owner of the store?
You know what? I'm going to be so completely honest and open. I am like so humbled by being able to have that opportunity. Like still to this day, I think I'm like a month in. Yeah. And I didn't want to. I'm gonna tell the truth. You know, we talk about highs and lows, right? I would tell the truth. I didn't want to do it.
We scared. Were you just a little bit nervous? Just because you hear. I mean, you don't see everybody. You don't get their clothes in the store in the mall. So what was your reservations on that?
So I was going through postpartum as a new mom.
Yeah.
You know, I had a lot going on at the time, and it was to the point where my plate was so heavy, I couldn't hold it no more. And so to add that on, it was just like, I need to be able to keep my peace. And, you know, I'm big on mental health.
Right.
And everybody that knows me knows, listen, if it's too much, I'm not doing it, you know?
Yeah.
I'd rather have my peace of mind. But I have this bomb friend that was just like, girl, you stupid. And she was like, you know, she's one of the owners. And so she was like, at least come up here and put a hat in here. Something.
Yeah.
You know, you got stuff, you got gear, it might as well be in here. And so I was just like, yeah, that makes sense, right? And this was during the pandemic when I was used to being in the house. I didn't want to take my kids anywhere. I was still ordering groceries. I was still nervous about going anywhere. And so there was that fear and that anxiety, right? And so I just didn't see it. But it was one of those things that actually helped my anxiety, me being able to focus on something that was outside of the house. It really helped me to be a lot more calm for some reason, more stress-free. now that I was focusing back on my baby, like I have my kids, but Daddy has always been like my babies that I have to always nurture and make sure that I'm treating right. So it made me feel good to be able to get back and do that. So I'm so happy that I have people that are there to push me when I'm feeling down and I don't feel like it, right? So that's important too. You know, you have to have a circle of good people around you, good friends, good family that are willing to tell you what makes sense. You know, that are willing to tell you the truth, and that's willing to back you up. Like, hey, you know, let's take a self-care day, you know, or hey, you need me to go help you with this? Let's go, let's do it. So I definitely have those people, and I feel extremely, extremely blessed to have those people in my life and in my corner. A lot of stuff I wouldn't be able to do without them. Shout out to my sister Marilyn and my niece Brittany. It takes a village.
For sure. Those people you got that support system to really help to bring you up and uplift you. And one thing I tell a lot of people is, you know, in life, in business, it's good to surround yourself with positive people, and you guys can uplift each other. You got to really be careful for having like negative things in your life, negative people in your life, because they will really tear you down. And just that mental stress of that alone, it will be very hard to really fully attain and reach your goals. It just won't happen. Got to have good. I exercise OQP, only quality people. That's kind of my.
I love that.
That's my mantra. So, what you doing all these things with the brand? Where do you see this brand in the next 2 years? I think that it's just going to keep growing. It's going to keep building. I'm excited about it. I think you're going to keep on climbing. So, what are your goals? You know, for the future?
Some of the goals I have always been the same goals from day one. I want to be able to make money in my sleep. I want to be able to spend more time with my family.
Yep.
While I'm making money, while checks are coming in the mail. And I want to be able to provide quality clothing, a lifestyle brand that people believe in, that people feel good about, and that helps people with their quality of life and their mental state. I don't see a lot of that out there.
Nope.
And so what I'm trying to build, I just hope that it's reciprocated right, you know, and I just hope that in 3 years, you can find me in multiple consignment spots all through California. And I'm supported and loved.
You are.
So that's the goal. And that I have something to leave to my kids, and they can keep it going. And eventually it'll be a way of life for a lot of our young people.
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of these entrepreneur types of individuals are kind of starting to change maybe the way some people kind of look at things. They look at, you know, what they're doing, you know, because most people are just pretty much only tied in 100% to a 9-to-5. And a 9-to-5 is good because, you know, it's solid, it's guaranteed, you know what you're going to bring home. And we definitely need the 9-to-5 until we don't, right? But talk about, you know, the importance of trying to create a second stream of income for yourself, you know, even if it's like $500-600 a month, like that is super important, right?
It is super important. And I think that investing is important. I think that saving and teaching your kids the importance of saving.
For sure.
I think that's important because I think a lot of us don't come from knowledge of those concepts.
100%.
It was always, you know, go to work, be a good worker, you know, be a good employee, don't be late. Save your money. But it was like, okay, well, how? Where?
How do I do it?
How do I make my money grow? Yeah, you know. And so you don't know what you don't know, right? And so now that I'm figuring it out, because I don't want to come off as I'm this expert, because I feel like there's no end to learning on how to invest your money and how to spend your money. There's no end to learning about money. You always have to be a student. And I think having that mind frame is what makes people successful.
Most definitely. And before we wrap it up, before I let you go, just what, advice would you give to a aspiring entrepreneur, somebody who might have an idea, they want to do something, they're doing something, they're having struggles, they want to do it. What advice would you give to those people? Because I honestly, I think even thinking of a concept and you definitely got to put pen to paper, but even thinking about it is big. But what would you say to those people that are at that step, or they're trying to take that step, but like, see, some people be like, they're scared to jump in the pool.
Yeah, I definitely was, and I understand. But if I can give any advice, the advice I would give is do what makes sense. Make it make sense. Time is on your side. Don't rush anything. Definitely learn your craft, learn who your demographic is, and think about the future and where you're trying to go. Plant your seed and let it grow, right? So you really have to be patient out here. You have to make good connections. You have to network with the right people.
Yeah.
And you have to put yourself out there. I'm big on playing the background. Like, this isn't my first merry-go-round. I had a business when I was 19 years old called I Shine Entertainment. Me and Ricky was out here making it do what it do. And, there's a lot of things I wish I could have did differently. But we thought we were successful, We thought we couldn't learn anymore. And so that was a learning experience. And so I'm glad I had that experience. I'm really blessed to be able to have those experiences. And so get out here and create experiences. That's the best advice I can give you. Get out in the world. There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues of places where you can get free money, grants. People they're telling the game. They're not selling it anymore. Go follow Master P. Go follow Constance Carter. Go follow. There's all these people out here that are telling Jay-Z. That are telling you exactly how to do it. Write it down.
Giving you the blueprint.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. We definitely talked about that. We talked a little bit about the importance of creating that second stream of income. And again, that's one thing this podcast is about. So I hope that with every guest I bring on, people are left feeling inspired and motivated about on one topic or the other. All of my guests, you all come from different walks of life or involved in different things. But one thing that you all have in common is you guys are investors. You invest in yourself and you invest in others, and you guys are all a part of the Invest Nation. Tanisha, I've loved catching up with an old friend, talking to you. Can you tell my listeners really quickly your website? Where can they find the Godi gear? Where can they cop that?
All right. So, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, John, for pulling me out.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's my
really
pleasure to do it.
You.
It was only right. I was like, we got to get her on. She got a story. People need to hear about this, and people need to be moved. And I believe when people hear this podcast, they're gonna feel inspired. And you definitely hit those key points that I wanted us to hit 100%.
Perfect. I got to take my own advice too, because I don't put myself out there enough. And, I have this comfort zone. And so thank you for taking me out of my comfort zone. I really, really appreciate you having me on. And I'm really thankful to be able to have this platform to talk to people about what's going on. Life has changed so much since the pandemic. And
yes.
I want to make sure that people are taking first the steps to make sure that they're all right.
Yeah.
Because mental health is such a stigma in the Black community. But I also want to make sure that people know that there's an outlet. There's people that are there. I'm here for you. Reach out if you need help. Check on your friends, especially your strong friends. But if you want to get some Godi gear, make sure you hit up shopgodi.com. I'm always adding new stuff on there. There's some new things for the summer right now. Or hit me up at the pop-up shop. You might catch me in there. So pop in and say hello. I also have another consignment spot coming. That's going to be in the downtown area of Sacramento. I'm not going to tell you guys about that, but it's coming. And I have some other things coming in the future. So hopefully, you know, in the future, you'll have me back on and then.
Oh, you're coming back. All right. John Ross here, the Invest Podcast. Tanisha Mitchell, Godi Clothing Brand. We talked about a lot of good stuff on this episode. Today, it's been a pleasure. Talk soon. Take care.
Thank you. You take care too.
All right. Peace out.